and Ben Taylor was responsible for tarmac and putting proper surface in a lot of the roads in Suffolk in the 1920s. I know that Ben Taylor came to my own village with his steamroller, and he challenged the village to a game of cricket with his men, because in those days there was a road.
So Margaret is the first of our showman's engines here in the arena this afternoon, and the showman's engine was a development of the road locomotive that's used by the travelling showman. Power and light the rides, like you see over in the fairground there. It's got a dynamo on the front, capable of generating 110 volt DC. This one worked in Sholen for Henry Thurston. His name's still proudly on the side of the cab. That was named after his wife. And it's 100 years old this year. When Thurston's were finished with it, that ended up threshing for Derby for Suffolk. Owned now by the Honour family and driven today by William.
6 trailers on the back of the fairs and the rides and the fortune tellers and everything else that went with it. I'll leave you this roller.
Well, this is a local roller, but it's also a very, very distant roller. So make what you can out of that one. It's an 8-tonner. Rollers tend to be denoted by weight rather than horsepower. 8-ton ordinary single-cylinder engine. This one belongs to the Borough Museum and is driven today by the lovely George Turner.
Now this Garrett tractor is owned by an old friend of mine. He's part of the milling mafia, and he pulled into my yard on Wednesday afternoon to fill up with water, so we had to batten everything down in case anything went missing. But the Baker family were a renowned milling family. They had mills in Sudbury, and they had associate companies all over eastern England. Their various branches of the family were mill managers for Dickinson's of Lincoln and also Tyndall's of Holby, so they're very well known. And today we welcome the Baker family here. This particular engine is a Garrett 4CD, which is a fast little tractor which Garrett designed and used for towing full light.
Was going to be taking part in the forthcoming road run, but due to the weather conditions in the forest, we've had to cancel that. And having driven an engine around the field here this morning, that's more of a relief than anything else, I must admit. The plastic lines of the Borough engine there. An interesting point on this engine, the AGE plate. That was Associated General Engineers. Burrells and Avens, various other manufacturers clubbed together to sort of try to overcome.
It's in perfect condition, just as it left barrels worse than Texas.
Yes, a lovely single-cylinder engine there. If you wanted an engine to do a day's threshing, you couldn't get one much close for a big showman like Margaret to pull his living vans, his side stalls, and to light up his coconut shies.
An interesting fact about that Roby tractor is that Robys were general engineers, and they built the pumping station at My lord, this is the Earl of Fleshy. Now, the Earl of Fleshy was a great farmer in the 1920s. He had a lot of horses, and he employed his own blacksmith. But sat next to him is someone even more interesting, which is Miss Karen Carr. Now, you may well have heard this name.
Early tank springs, rubber tyres for easy travel over long distances.
Being able to do all sorts of things. He does get involved in trading track and engines, and he's recognised as basically a world authority on
At the end of the day, here at Weeting, this is another one of our host engines, owned by Mr. Richard Parrott of Weeting now, this engine. Spent his working life in Essex, presented on steel wheels as it would have been originally. Interesting point on this engine, down on the side of the boiler you'll see there's a rack there with some angled pieces of metal on. They are spuds or clips or clip engines, never been to Weeting before, all the way from the south of England. Newcomer to Weeting, Mr. Hammond, with his Avon tractor Duke of Norfolk. Another nice, nippy little road haulage engine, this one. Look at the little tank down under the front. Look up on the back of the cab, you'll see there's a coiled up hose there. That is the water lifter hose. You could fit it on to the water lifter. Weeting has more problems when the ground's dry. We're in the Brackland. The ground is very sandy, as you've no doubt noticed. When you put your push chairs and your shoes back in your car to go home, you'll see you're all covered with a fair covering of thin gauge palm.
It used to be owned by Chris Lambert at Hawthorne in Essex. And Chris Lambert was a big haulage contractor, a classic contractor, and lots of engines had a sale in the 50s, which was quite an important one. So it's a beautiful engine. They call those contractors engines because it was used for heavy haulage around the countryside. Like you might see a big lorry today, they were the big lorries of their day. They could put just 30 tons behind them and tow it anywhere. But of course you need to remember, to get a transformer from say London to Birmingham, probably took the best part of
So they'll be underway soon. There's never a dull moment here at Weeting, there's always something going on.
Well, Michael, I can tell you that the push pull has been put in between Telston Bell and the bottle roller. It's now attached, and we should see that moving.
The Newton family from Hungerford in Berkshire, they're a very important family because they've been involved with engines right from the early days of preservation, and that's a lovely, lovely sparrow agricultural with a canopy, a full-length canopy on the top to keep the driver dry.
Stone crushing area, you'll see another engine Spitfire with a similar cab toolbox on the back because it works in Lancashire and the rough weather. The engine doing the pushing is the Garrett traction engine, the Telston Bell, owned by Jenny Arnold and Steve Barraclough. This engine was a regular here at Weeting in the ownership of the late David North, who owned us for many, many years. And he'd have thoroughly approved of seeing his engine helping somebody else out of a muddle. And that's an engine that travels many miles under its own steam.
Interesting little engine, a Ransom Simpson Jeffries, owned by Mark Groom. He's only recently acquired it from...
It's on the A1 actually after Stockpole Mill and doing very nicely at once as well.
Oh my God,
So now we're having a debate now whether the Wallace is going to storm the sand pit. I think this could be worth seeing.
With luck, this Wallace and Stevens roller will get up the hill in the sand. You haven't a crack at it, we will see. Anyhow, Wallace and Stevens were the first people to design I thought he might, a road roller suitable for rolling tarmac, because when tarmac first came out, Pavelings never did quite manage to follow that. They tried tandem engines and so forth, but Wallace and Stevens were leaders of this little one. And if you look at the rolling pattern, you'll see it's nice and easy.
So there we are, that's a Wallace Advanced roller. So we've got the whole range of engines here at Weeting this weekend, from Century, the oldest barrel of 1877, right up to semi-modern machines developed for the role in the tarmac and modern materials. So coming into the bottom of the arena now we have a Fowler tractor, and that's followed by Sam Crawley, who I think is a newcomer to Weeting. They can't hear me apparently, so I can say whatever the hell I want. That's a Wallace traction engine built in Basingstoke. Nice traction engine, recently had a little bit of work to it, and a few bits repainted and presented in beautiful condition.
Right looking down, there's another little Garrett tractor. These Garrett tractors were sold in great numbers. Garrett sold thousands of small tractors, portables, and traction engines all over the world, and it's an example of their work. Again, supplied through Lord Surlow at Stowmarket. Lord Surlow at Stowmarket were a big traction engine agency, a bit like Marshall's motor car tracking lorries today. But they...
The job is probably running on about £50 a steam, but that's the weak sheet. Now in bottom gear, as you can hear, owned by the Saunders collection of Stockholm and driven by Mr. Ben Tregear.
The next one is the Foden, very close to my heart. They're an old friend of mine. German foil on them is to his family.
In Loch Ness, hence the name Nessie. New visitor here to Weeting, and by contrast he is a regular here at Weeting, the V9 family's Burrell single Tommy. This engine was bought from Reg Palmer's scrapyard by Stan Burgess and restored, and he never took it for a rally, but one thing he did do was that when he bought the derelict Showman's Earl Hay, this was the engine he towed up home with. And then we've got Mr. Gilbert with John Boy, probably the newest full-size engine here, built in 2007 by Dawson's of Bigger. That is a Foster single-cylinder tractor.
At the back you'll just see that Foden with the timber load. That's Simon Webb's Foden. That's an estate tractor which Foden's designed for timber haulage. So it's actually doing the work it was designed to do. He's got to keep going because of the sand, and so I can't stop him, but I'd love to get him to talk about it because there's a lot to be told about that outfit there. Most interesting. It's a lovely example of a timber drone, a tractor. It's got a big winch on to the time I was likely to stop it going through the sand.
It's an interesting point on that one. We've got a little video over there that works for Cold in the West Country and posted that in for a little while. And we've just seen the Clayton as well, a regular
tipper coming up inside this one up the hill. That's a 6-ton steam wagon. Both built them in various sizes, 3, 4, 5 and 6 tonners, and that's an example of a normal 6-tonner, as you would have seen going around the countryside, from station to mill, from mill to farm, from farm to quarries, and I think we might see one from a quarry later on. I'm not sure it's coming in the ring, but they certainly be used for carting roadstone to the station, for road work. Very often they had a Foden and a roller. The Foden would bring the stone up, and the roller would put the stone in the ground. And it was all lots of labour. There was no diggers and JCBs in those days. There's the Ruston which Michael's much more informed than I am.
So there we are now, the epitome of the traction engine, the height of engineering excellence, the Ruston and Hornsby built in 1920. New to W. Godfrey of Ickleston, that one. Then past the Sammy Coxall, his farmyard burned down in 1924, and
don't mind.